All right, y'all. I'm pretty positive this is day 7, and if it's not, sue me. But I can promise this is going to be the thrilling, hopefully, conclusion, definitely, of this story. It's been a year since our town adults have disappeared. Are you ready? Here we go. I was so tired. So fucking tired I could barely move my legs. What did Jude say again? How exactly did you get onto the barrier, Rhea? The microwave dinging didn't wake me up. The stink of burning plastic and cremated food did. Get up. The voice was familiar, pulling me out of my thoughts. When I didn't move, someone kicked me violently in the stomach, and something was dropped onto my head. I sat up, a scream clawing in my throat, the burned remnants of my dinner dripping down my face, standing over me with 2 pairs of feet. And when I looked up, I glimpsed Gracie Lockhart. She made sense. She was a psycho. But not Liam, our mayor, who was supposed to be sane. Get up. This time I was kicked in the head. I felt my brain bounce around my skull, my vision blurring. I was on my feet, off balance. All around me was a startling orange. I thought it was from the microwave catching fire, but then the blurred orange was moving. Grace, Liam, and 2 other guys held flaming torches. The light was mesmerizing. I found myself transfixed until I snapped out of it. Nathaniel was in front of me, his arms bound behind his back. A squeaking, muffling Sarah was struggling between 2 girls' grasp. I found my voice. What's going on? My arms were violently pinned behind my back. When I twisted around, I found myself eye to eye with my best friend. Jude wore a hooded sweatshirt, his curls hidden underneath. He didn't meet my gaze, shoving me toward the door along with the others. Witch! Gracie spat in my face before yanking me out of our house and throwing me to my knees. I tried to lift my head, but Gracie stomped on my back, and I bit back a shriek. Nathaniel and Sarah were thrown next to me, and I stared at the reflection of my brother's eyes, following the orange glow that lit up the darkness. In front of us, a horde of kids stood, all holding torches burning bright. We found them, Gracie cried to the crowd, and they cheered, a psychotic hive mind thirsty for our blood. We have found the evil who did this to our parents, who trapped us. She had to be kidding, right? Nathaniel shook his head, eyes wide. Wait, you're fucking serious? Gracie crouched in front of us and held up her phone. Her evidence was a screenshot of a tweet posted the same day the adults exploded. It read only, "The Sinclairs are witches." Posted from an account with 0 followers, 0 likes, and a default profile picture. Panic crept into my gut. The town was already losing their minds from isolation and starvation. Could they really believe we had started this? Jude, I found my voice, a sharp squeak I didn't trust. When Gracie screamed blood for blood and forced me to my feet by my hair, I caught his eye in the crowd. Jude, I'm not a fucking witch. You killed my mom, he said in a whisper, a demented laugh slipping through his lips. She was all over me, and I couldn't breathe. Her blood was stuck to me. She was everywhere, Rhea. You know me, I managed to cry out. Jude, you know this is bullshit. He didn't reply, his expression hardening. I wish I could see even a glitter of influence in his eyes. But it was all him. Jude's fear had turned him into a monster. Burn the witch, he said in a whimper, his lip curling. The boy's expression contorted. His hiss became a yell, cutting through the crowd's screams. Fucking burn them! Burn them! The crowd hollered. I stopped fighting when we were dragged through town. Rotten food and soiled diapers thrown in our faces. I knew where we were headed, and my body had gone numb. Nathaniel stayed silent, his dark eyes finding his friends in the crowd. Sarah screamed, sobbing, begging to a group of kids who already decided her fate. It was Jude who shoved me against our founder tree, binding me to my siblings. It was Jude who stepped back, gripping his torch for dear life. They surrounded us, a ring of blazing fire and expressions riddled with excitement. Gracie stepped forward, Liam by her side. I knew in her fucked up little mind killing us would bring back the adults. And she had spread the word like a virus, polluting the town's minds. Rhea Sinclair, she took in front of me, then the others. Nathaniel Sinclair. She was gentle with my sister, forcing Sarah's head up with the tip of her manicure. And Sarah Sinclair. We find you guilty of witchcraft, she said. Your sentence is burning in the pits of hell where you belong. I didn't take her seriously, not even with a burning torch in her grasp, until the girl pulled out a knife from her pocket. I turned my attention to the sky when the blade was drawn across my sobbing sister's throat. When her cries gurgled and deep dark red spotted the earth, I looked at the moon poking from the clouds instead. I didn't see my sister die. I just saw her body slump over, her head of dark brown curls hanging in her face. The crowd's reaction was haunting. Calls for my sister's head to be severed and waved in the air in triumph. I kept my gaze on the sky, tears filling my eyes. Nate, I managed to get out. She's dead, I wanted to scream. Our sister is dead. Nate, I screamed. He didn't reply, even when Gracie knelt in front of him and dragged the blade of the knife down his cheek, forcing him to look up at her with the tip of her nail. You're a fucking murderer, he said in a whimper, only for her to spit in his face. She's lucky he's bound. You spit in my face, I'm punching your mouth. Nathaniel didn't blink, struggling in his restraints. Witch, Gracie Lockhart snarled at him, pressing the knife deeper. You're a filthy witch, Nathaniel Sinclair. I don't know what sealed the deal. Was it Gracie parading my sister's body in front of him, or spitting his face? I could feel it already, icy prickles creeping down my bare arms, already playing with my strands of my hair. When I twisted my head, Nathaniel was smiling. I saw the contortion in his cheeks, amusement morphing into agony, unnatural darkness spiderwebbing across his pupils. Velvet magic. He stunk of it. I fucking knew the asshole was using it. Velvet magic, also known as possessing magic, had been banned a long time ago. It is to witches what drugs are to humans, addictive, drawn from dark energies that humans naturally make. It is well known to take over the mind and soul of the witch possessing it. If my brother had been using velvet magic, he was doing so with purpose. I was too, but I was inexperienced. Just like my mother said that morning. Only when I turned 18 would I be able to experiment with confession magic. Damn! I have a confession. What I wrote at the start wasn't the complete truth. Yes, I did scream at my mother. How was I supposed to know fuck off and die would actually work? And more so, how would I know it would take out half the fucking town? Nathaniel was our family witch. Why was he using velvet magic in the first place? I had secretly been tearing myself apart for over a year. I had been secretly tearing myself apart for over a year over my magic being the cause of our town-wide disaster. Was I wrong? Did he kill the adults? I should have been horrified when Gracie's brain started to leak out of her ears. Except she murdered my sister and had me bound to a tree. Led a government that assaulted my brother. The girl squeaked, slamming her hand over her mouth, smearing red dripping down her face. Nate, I shot him a look. But I don't think he saw it. Nathaniel just saw our little sister's dead body. I lost my breath when, with a single flick of his finger behind his back, Gracie's head was splitting apart, her delighted grin twisting into horror. She didn't even get to feel it, a mercy I knew the bitch didn't even deserve. When a chunk of the girl's skull landed on the ground, lips still split into a grotesque skeletal grin, the cloud went silent. Before, screams. Gracie's body hit the ground and then caught a light, flames dancing across her skin. Without a word, Nathaniel calmly pulled apart his restraints, and with a single jerk of his wrist, an agonizing scream escaping his lips, his eyes filled with black, sent the crowd flying several feet. I watched kids thrown back, helpless dolls caught in an invisible wind. One boy slammed into a tree, his body crumpling. A girl bisected on a wire fence. I didn't realize how powerful my brother really was. I should have cared about them, cared that they were dying, hurting. But they had murdered my sister. Excuse me. They had murdered my fucking sister. When Nate dropped his hands, his gaze found mine and he opened his mouth. But his words were drowned out by mechanical shrieking from above us. Looking up, a helicopter was hovering. And I remember my mom's words. Do not draw attention to yourselves. Do you hear me? Her words echoed in my mind when another helicopter appeared. There are bad people, Rhea. Bad witches looking for us. And if they find us, they'll kill us. Our entire coven in this town. They'll burn it to the ground. Nathaniel ignored the presence in the sky, wrapping his arms around me, squeezing me into a hug. The darkness in his eyes, spiderwebbing across his face, was something else. Velvet magic. He was consumed by it. A drowning darkness. But I didn't hate it. If he was going to avenge Sarah, so be it. 1,500. Nate whispered into my shoulder before pulling away, his breath heavy. 1,500. His voice contorted into a giggle, which wasn't my brother's. Mom taught us about possession magic. It converts witches, filling their minds with dark influence. But I wanted it to fill him, if he was going to save our sister. Blood for blood. Before I could respond, rough hands were on my bindings, tugging them apart. Come on, a voice hissed. But I was watching my brother scoop Sarah's body into his arms. Are you stupid? Do you really want to hang around and let yourself be caught? I was dizzy, dragged by a shadow I fought against, but I was too weak, my magic rolling right off of him. "They're rounding up witches, idiot," the shadow's voice bled into one I knew. Jude. Immediately, I twisted around, aiming a kick to his face, which he easily dodged, grabbing my shoulders. I glimpsed the exact same flicker of darkness in his eyes, velvet magic. The asshole was one of us, hiding in plain sight, and didn't save my sister. In fact, the bastard watched. He dragged me back, pulling me into a clearing when the crowd started screaming, this time led by Liam. Nathaniel had killed at least 10 kids. When I risked a look, my brother was carrying my sister away, unfazed by the yells from above telling him to stay where he was. When sparks of dazzling purple hit the sky or hit the ground like fireworks, I realized the people shooting at us were not human. Witches. Jude's lips latched to my ear, his breath ice cold. "Your idiot brother just gave them a reason to start hunting us down, and the Sinclairs at the top of their list. So if I were you," he spoke through gritted teeth, "I would start running." That's the end of the story. I don't know if there's a part two, but there you go. So I guess it was technically her fault or her brother's fault. So for that reason, it was good. There's a bunch of stuff in the middle I think I didn't need, but that was solid. Solid read. Tomorrow, we'll find a new scary story. But until then, peace.